This is the first official podcast. No name on the podcast yet, but hopefully we can come up with one soon. But today's topic, we're going to be going over Instagram Reels, TikTok, Facebook Reels, kind of just a little bit of that, and maybe we'll get into some sponsorships.
100%. All the dirty stuff. The dirty stuff nobody wants to talk about. Sponsorships. And coming from, you're a pretty big creator, but I feel like I'm still pretty small. So it's kind of like the dirty stuff coming from the small guys, that are just kind of getting our feet wet a little bit. But anyway, how's life?
It's going good. Got 3 boys that are driving me crazy. I'm lucky that I stay sane, and but doing good.
What about getting this podcast together?
My goodness, you guys, this podcast, everything's going wrong. Like, we tried filming it earlier, didn't go down. I literally broke my camera starting this podcast, so I'm recording on my phone. Crazy.
Yeah, this is try number 2. We tried about 6 hours ago. Just didn't happen, and eventually had things to do. Marshall just broke his camera. My camera was having some difficulties, so I think we're on track now. I think we're good to go.
The devil's fighting us.
Oh yeah, it's Satan, has to be. But anyway, like you said, welcome to the very first podcast. Looking forward to getting this thing rolling. If you guys don't know who we are, you probably know this guy across from me here, Georgia Bassmasters, the Georgia Bassmaster, Marshall himself, and my name is Tate, Fishing with Tate. So once again, glad to have you here on the Unnamed Podcast for now. But yeah, just to dive right into it, you want to talk about maybe, just kind of your experience with sponsors, like who you're sponsored by right now.
Currently, I'm sponsored by Spro Gomakatsu, which is like the same company. A lot of my sponsors are just kind of like, it'll be 2 or 3 sponsors, but it's the same company, because like Catch Code, Carl's Bait and Tackle, all those, just one company. That's my other sponsor. I'm sponsored by Millennium Marine, which is the seats that Bill Dance uses, and they're awesome seats, so check those out. No promo codes for those. It's just like you have to pay full retail, but they're worth it. So I'm sponsored by them. And who am I sponsored by? Anybody else? They're gonna be mad if they see this and I don't remember.
Oh no! I didn't think about that.
Pineside.
I really don't know where I stand currently with Pineside. Joe said he was going to send me some stuff the other day, but I think my code still works, so that's good.
Yeah.
Pineside's great. I have no problem with them. So Catch Go's a big one. We both sponsored by Catch Go. Who else am I sponsored by? I think technically, I guess I'm sponsored by Guggen Squad. Technically,
he's a Guggen.
I don't know. I have a code. So I don't know. I'm going to claim that one. I'm gonna claim Guggen.
Plug the code. Plug it.
Oh, it's Tate. Code Tate.
10%.
Yeah. 10% on GuggenSquad.com. And then Tifosi sunglasses. Yeah, Tifosi sunglasses. I had never heard of them. They sent me some sunglasses. Loved them. And, I said, give me a code. They gave me one. Well, let's talk about this. So I had a company recently, and I ain't gonna name any names, okay? And they sent me some products, and I tried them out, and we've had this conversation. All right, we're to the point now where we're overrun with product, right? Like in the beginning, you're just like, all right, I just want free stuff, and I'm happy. And they send me this stuff, and this is really, I don't know, this is one of the first ones I've ever had to do this. And I threw the bait, and I'm not even going to tell the bait because I made a post about it, not promoting it, just kind of showing it off a little bit. And it broke on like less than 20 casts in. And I just hit a log, right? So it broke. I was like, all right, bad taste in my mouth. And then I started hearing some other things from other people about the company. So ultimately, without going into any other detail, I decided to turn them down, right? And that's really, that's the biggest company I've turned down, I should say. So what's your experience with that? Have you ever turned someone down?
I have a lot of smaller companies I've turned down, you could say. Never turned down a really big company, but I'm sure once you get over like 10,000 followers on Instagram, you're going to have everybody's little small plastic bait company hitting you up in the world to try their homemade
100%.
Senkos, stick baits, and the custom painted square bills. Like everybody's in that line of work. So I have to tell them all the time.
100%.
I'm like, look, guys, I'm sure your products are great. I'd love for you to send them. I probably use them in my video, but I'm like, I can't promise you that I can plug your business and even promote it. I was like, it may be 6 months till I use your lure. I don't know. So I get those all the time. And sometimes I just have to say, hey, man, I have 500 square bills on my wall, you know?
And there's no way you're going to be using them all. And you can't blame those guys for trying, right? I mean, they're looking for free promo. I mean, and for them, I mean, that's probably, they can't afford, they don't have the budget for, to spend $3,000 or whatever on just pure influencers, So you can't blame those guys for trying. But yeah, that was really, I'm not going to say I've never turned people down, because like you, I've turned a lot of those down. The guys on TikTok that have their moment of fame on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the guy? The guy who is like going at Z-Man, and like he was showing how tough his baits are. I don't see him anymore.
Yeah, I
can't think of the name. Yeah, there's a few. Might have been Backlash Baits. You remember? Does that sound familiar?
I've heard Backlash.
I can't remember that. That may be wrong. That may be wrong. So no hate toward him, but I mean, it's just I saw him for a while. Small bait company. He's not there anymore. So I don't see him anymore. Which doesn't mean he's not there for everyone else. But so who was your first sponsor?
The first sponsor I ever got was Mystery Tackle Box, which is Catch Co.
Really?
So that was
Same.
That was the first sponsor I ever got. I was I think I was at 1,900 subscribers. I was about to hit 2,000. And I had filled out a sponsorship application form. And Eli emailed me and was like, hey, I saw you filled out an application form, and I saw your video of the Classic, and we'd like to have you on our influencer roster. So at the time, I was hyped. I was sending screenshots to all my friends. I'm officially sponsored now. So, but yeah, my first sponsor was 2,000 subscribers. So I guess maybe if any of you guys watching, maybe that's a mark you need to be looking for.
Yeah, I would say that's close to mine too, probably around 2,000. And I think early on, a lot of people were reluctant to really take TikTok seriously. You think so?
They definitely were, and the market has changed to where everybody's trying to get involved in TikTok now. Like even Bill Nance has a TikTok. All the pro fishermen are opening TikToks, and all these bait companies are trying to start TikToks because they see there's value in it. Within a year ago, they all thought it was a joke. It was a dancing app.
Yeah. That's how I got hired on with Guggen. Like they wanted somebody to come in and help with the short form content, and that's where my job was born. But have you seen the On 'em Fishing TikTok?
No.
You seen him?
I haven't.
I can't think of his name.
No, I do know who you're talking about, the professional bass fisherman.
The long
guy
hair
who's like the mullet and like
just very country. Just very country, yeah. He's got a TikTok too, and he's just like, there's no censorship on him at all. He's just using all kinds of language, which is fine. I mean, that's whatever. TikTok's like that too. But I don't know. I just thought it's kind of, the pros are definitely getting involved for sure.
I actually forgot a sponsor. I don't know. Oh my goodness.
Did I set us up with that question?
Yeah, we're just gonna not talk about that. But yeah, now the game is everybody's getting in shorts, and shorts are the thing to go to. I've even I've had big companies ask my advice on like how to grow their content, and they're wanting a free answer, but everybody's wanting to get in.
Well, I think you have to, right? Did you see where? And this may be just completely false, but I think I heard that TikTok was going to 10-minute videos. Is that right?
I think I got an email from TikTok saying that.
Did you? It might have been you told me that.
What's the difference between TikTok and YouTube at that point? Like, I don't know.
I mean, just that it's vertical and like no horizontal options.
Yeah, like,
I don't know.
Why ruin a good thing? People like the short content.
How does that change the monetization? Is what I wonder. Like, does that change? I think the average is 3 cents per 1,000 views. What if people are watching 5 minutes of a video? They're not going to keep the same, surely.
If they start putting 5 to 10 minute videos, surely they're going to start putting ads in there somewhere. I would bet.
They got to. Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Yeah.
there's ads when you're scrolling through TikTok every now and then, like every 10th or 20th TikTok is an ad.
Yeah. And they try to trick you too. Did you notice that?
Oh, they do. They do.
Yeah. The little ad thing at the bottom doesn't pop up until like you're like 3 seconds in.
Yeah.
So, and you got to,
Sweet.
and you kind of got to do that too. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, if you're going to promote something in a TikTok, you have to kind of like sneak it in there within the context of like, some kind of skit or something. Because if you're just like link in bio, it's not going to do good.
TikTok
So,
will straight shut it down.
yeah, 100%.
You want to talk about the difference between sponsorships and Prostaffs?
Yeah. And you might have a little bit more insight on that than I do. I don't have a whole lot. I've never been pro staff or know anyone that is.
I tell all my friends that, even the smallest creators I know, that I'm just not a fan of pro staff at all. In my opinion, they have their prices a little bit jacked up. And when they give you your promo code for your pro staff promo code, you're basically just buying it at retail price, and that's how they kind of get you into the masses of, everyone buying their stuff is literally everyone's pro staff and everyone's buying their stuff. That way they can put on their Instagram that they're pro staff by such and such company.
So it's almost
like
like
when you walk into
it's almost like a pyramid scheme.
It is like, it's a pyramid scheme in my opinion. And I don't do it. I'm not a fan. And an actual sponsorship, they're either going to be providing you with free product or some payment.
Or paying for content.
Or if something. Like, it's not going to be, you're not going to be getting 20% off and still buying a bunch of gear. Like, that's just a no for me.
I agree. And we talked about this earlier. I'm to the point now, you can only put out so much content, right? And once you're so big and you get these companies looking at you, they're going to want X amount of content. If they're providing you with products and whatever. Say they're paying you, in this just example, $10 a month, and they want $2.50 per video, 4 videos a month. Well, say you're only putting out 8 videos a month, that's half of your content. So you only got so much room to make that much content. And like we were talking about earlier, I'm kind of getting a little bit more picky about, who I work with and the deals that I'm taking. Doesn't mean I'm not going to use the products. To me, if it's a good product, you're probably going to see me using it in the video, but I'm not going to be like, hey, check this out, xnx.com,
Where it gets complicated sometimes is, I know this is like this with Ketchco. You probably could do it, but it's kind of frowned upon. Is whenever you create like a sponsored video for them, like I do 3 sponsored videos a month. You might do 4 or somebody else, but they don't want a bunch of other sponsored content in your video. So they don't want you to open the video saying, hey, this is sponsored by MTB. And then a minute later, you're like, oh, check out this product. This is sponsored by this. And then check out this product and then sponsored by this. So when you do a sponsored video, it's like your entire video has to be just that one company. And then your next video has to be the next company. And like Tate was saying, if you're dedicated to 4 videos a month for this company, well, that's 1 a week. And then if you have another company that's 3 to 4 videos a week, and now you're at twice a week, 2 videos a week, and that's really hard to sustain. So the more companies you get sponsored by, the harder this thing is to squeeze in. And some of them are pretty lenient. A sponsor that I forgot to mention was Lose. I don't have to plug Lose in any amount of videos. I just have to use their product. Every now and then I'm like, check out this Lose Reel. Code Georgia, get you free shipping, but it's not a requirement. It's like a subtle sponsorship,
And people see you using that reel, and everybody knows Lose is a great company. I mean, I'm not sponsored by Lose, but they're a great company.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, Marshall uses Lose.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, what was that combo you were using? And I'm just like, plugging links, So you don't necessarily have to say, hey, this is sponsored by this to promote products always.
And that brings us to another good point. And we've talked about some of this off camera, so we kind of know how we feel a little bit about this. But that comes to commission based deals. So, you know, people use your link or use your code, you get 15% of the profits. So I'm kind of wanting to get away from that a little bit, even, and mostly because, and you and I agree, when people, obviously we have a lot of eyes on our content, right? And people are seeing that, and I mean, whether at that moment they see it and they're like, oh man, you know, I want to use that lose reel, but it's almost like subliminally, if that's the word, subconsciously, it's like, you know, it's probably planted in their head somewhere. And that, like, the next time they want to use a reel and they're at Dick's Sporting Goods or they're at Walmart and they see lose up there, like, oh man, Marshall uses that, Tate uses that, maybe we should pick that up. We don't get any credit for that buy, you know what I mean, for that purchase. So it's like,
exactly,
you know, a lot of companies are wanting to go to the commission based, and it's like, if you buy it from this website, then you get this much. But that takes out, you know, or even say they're at a garage sale, you know, and they're like, hey, I want that lose reel. And then they get hooked on lose. And then they go buy more lose, you know.
I know we've talked about this myself, and I can say hands down, certain websites I've never used people's codes because I'm so impatient of a person. If I see something that someone's using and I'm like, oh, that's a great bait, and I'm going fishing tomorrow, I'm going to drive down to my Dick's that day and buy it. I'm not waiting on shipping, 5 to 7 day shipping. Like, I'm going to go buy that lure that day or the next day, and I'm going to be using it, you know, within 1 to 2 days. And a lot of times I'm just not going to order it online and use someone's code, which is hurting them 100%. Even though they got me on the product, but they'll never see that. And that's why commission's not always as accurate as the companies make it out to be, in my opinion. That and if there's 100 codes out there, people are going to be plugging in different codes, even though they like you.
Yeah. You know, maybe someone's seen my video 100 times, and then it's like they see your video and they're like, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and buy it. And you're the last code they remember, so they, you know, just use that code, which is fine because I get that from a business point of view, because it's all about showing numbers. Like, Marshall made us this amount from our website, you know, and I get that from a business perspective. But like Bill Dance, I mean, you know, Bill Dance is going to sell stuff, right? I mean, you want to sponsor Bill Dance, and you're not going to say, Bill, use code Bill and get 10% off at, you know, whatever.com. The fact that Bill Dance's name is on it is enough, you know, and and not to say that we're on Bill Dance level, but you know, we got some recognition. I can go to the tackle store and people are going to recognize me, you know, and that's not a brag. It's just because I've got lucky and hit the TikTok algorithm a few times. And same with you. I mean, you go to the Bassmaster Classic, people are recognizing you, want to take pictures with you, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's value. And you know, we're not on there posting crazy content. It might get a little crazy on TikTok, but just the character of the people also that you have in your brand, I think that should mean something too. I don't want to really get too specific, but there are some controversial figures that I know that have not got deals because they were controversial and took certain stances that weren't, you know. Sometimes I actually sided with them, but I'm not going to put that out there. You know what I mean? It's all about the image. But yeah, I just compared us to Bill Dance.
That's a hard comparison. But that is a good point, because I have never once seen promo code Bill. But you know the man is selling stuff just because if it's in his video. I can't tell you how many times I've watched Spinnerbait A to Z, that old video he put out, and whatever spinnerbait he was using, I'm going to the store and I'm buying it back in the day. And you didn't have to have a promo code. It just, sales went up, you know.
Can I use code Bill?
Right. It might work. Who knows?
Bill 10. No, he should use code DANCE. Code DANCE is where it's at. So another thing that especially when you get a few different sponsors is actually promoting those sponsors, right? Like you have to put them out there. And for me, the biggest issue is I'm always afraid that I'm going to appear too sponsored, because I've seen those guys before. Back before I was even a content creator, I'm like, okay, are you promoting this product because you really like the product, or are you just trying to get some kind of commission, or you're sponsored by the company? So for me, that's a constant juggle, like putting out quality content versus sponsored content, which hopefully your sponsored content is quality also. But just wondering, do you have like a formula? Like, I try to be like, I don't want to post like 3 sponsored videos in a row. Do you have like a formula?
I always try to space mine out. Like I said, like if I have 3 with Ketchco, it's like 1 at the beginning of the month, 1 in the middle, and 1 at the end. That's how I always space them. That way, it's like you said, I don't want 3 back to back. Hey, this video is sponsored by so and so. 3 in a row or 4 in a row. I try to space them out. I try to have non-sponsored videos included in the content. That way I can just do what I want, fish with what I want with.
Yeah.
Just do exactly what I want,
Mm-hmm.
And even with the sponsored content, like if there's something in the mystery tackle box per se that I don't necessarily like the most, I just won't fish with it. And I'm just going to fish with what I like. And I'm going to promote what I like. And I'm not going to purposely promote a bait that I don't like. You know what I'm saying? I guess
100%.
I just won't use it.
Yeah, you don't want to.
If you don't see me using the bait, I probably just
you don't want to trash the company, because, and hopefully Mr. Tackle Box isn't watching this part, but there's been times where I've got baits that I did not like in my mystery tackle box. I just didn't like it. But I've also found baits that I absolutely love, including the chatterbait. I never used a chatterbait in my life until I got it in the mystery tackle box, and that's probably hands down my favorite bait now.
Right.
So it's, it's, and the thing is, when I use those baits, just like you said, I'm not going to be like, oh, this bait's absolutely trash, because that company might even have other good things,
right.
There's several good companies that, like.
Well, the thing about it is, when it comes to baits, they can be like personal preference. Like some people, I got some buddies that just don't like spinner baits. They claim they can just never catch a fish on a spinnerbait, so they don't like spinnerbaits. It doesn't mean that a spinnerbait is a bad bait, per se. Because, to me, it's like one of my top 3.
Maybe maybe where they fish just doesn't match the spinnerbait. If you fish a lot of grass, chatterbait.
So that's right. So I'm not necessarily knocking the baits, per se. It's just I don't necessarily have a lot of luck. And a lot of times luck with the lure comes with confidence.
Yeah.
If I have confidence in a lure, it's going to produce fish. And if I'm over here throwing something and I don't feel like it's going to work, it's probably not going to work just because I'm not using it right.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, because when you're, and for me, I think that comes from, I've always heard that, and I found that to be true. I think what that comes from is like your mind is not focused on the other elements. You know what I mean? It's like you're not making the perfect cast up next to the log because you're not like locked in with that bait. So when I got a chatterbait in there and I'm tossing it, it's like I'm locked in on everything else because I know the chatterbait's going to do its job. You know what I mean? I think that's where that comes from. But it's 100% true, like confidence base.
I'm right there with you. When the chatterbait first came out, this was probably 10 plus years ago. Me and my dad got them, and they were called chatter frogs. They were green. They had a little like flapper limbs.
That's the one I got in the mystery tackle box, I believe.
Bro, me and my dad said these things are trash. We threw them in the bottom of our tackle box after we used them one time and never picked them up again until years later. And now I literally cannot go fishing without
gotta have it. Especially right now. I mean, you gotta have it. What is another bait that's come out in recent years? And I say, when I mean recent, maybe in recent decades, that's had a big effect as chatterbait, bladed jig. Can you think of any?
I would say a Ned rig.
Ned rig, yeah,
isn't a Ned rig a fairly new bait?
Yeah. I think it is, yeah. So, yeah, that's fair. Maybe A-rigs? I think that.
It's not. A-rigs are probably up there.
Probably A-rigs, Ned rig.
I have a A-rig. I have an A-rig video on YouTube, and it's kind of popping off right now. Like, it's maybe got 10,000 views. But I get nothing but hate on that video from people saying that it's cheating.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to throw that, you're not a real fisherman. What's the point in throwing a bait with so many hooks? And I'm like, it catches big fish. Like, what do you mean, what's the point? I caught a 7.5 pound bass
Yeah.
on it
Dang.
on the video.
And then you got people, John B, for one, milking, going out with live scope and then throwing A-rigs. So it's like they're not resisting the A-rig already. And then you're going to just pinpoint them. John B doesn't even make a cast until he sees a blob. You know? So, I don't know, man. It's a lot of juicy stuff to get into there. We'll probably get into that probably in a future episode. But anything else on sponsors that you want to share?
Yeah, I don't think I have anything crazy to say about them.
Yeah, I mean,
no negative experience with the sponsors.
Yeah,
so.
I don't have any negative experiences.
Yeah,
other than prospective sponsors. This recent one, who I said no to. But you know, I did it very professionally. I wasn't like, oh, your bait's crap, you know, or anything like that. So
yeah.
hopefully, not a bad taste in their mouth. Because maybe I just got a bad product, you know. But that's the product they chose to send me to get a first impression. So I was like, you know. I've got a few sponsors, not as many as you, but I've got good sponsors. I think you do as well. So yeah, no bad experiences.
I will say this about my sponsors, and I get this question a lot, so maybe we need to talk about it. I'll have a bunch of smaller guys ask me, how do you get sponsors? Mm-hmm. And I will tell you, out of like the 5 or 6 sponsors I have, I've only got one of them by applying or asking.
Yeah.
Because like Ketchco had the influencer application form.
Yeah.
That was the only sponsor I ever got from asking. All the other sponsors came to me.
Yeah.
So I would say that, I guess if you think that asking is a good idea, to do it, but I'm leaning more towards, if the company wants you, they're going to kind of pursue you themselves.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the same exact, but I think that I filled that application out maybe when I had like 200 subscribers or something crazy. Like there was no chance of me getting sponsored. So that is the only time I think I ever filled that application out. But every other sponsor has, you know, come to me, and I think that's the best way to do it.
The funny thing about that is, I didn't get accepted to them by that application.
I didn't either.
sheet.
No.
What happened was, I went to the Bassmaster Classic, filmed a video, met a guy named TJ who works with Ketchco, ended up meeting some people in person. Ketchco saw my video on YouTube of the Bassmaster Classic, looked up my name and said, oh, this guy filled out a sponsorship application form.
Mm-hmm.
So then they contacted me through the email on that. But it wasn't just because I submitted an application. It was because they were actually interested in me and saw that I did fill out an application. So I guess still, in that sense, it still wasn't because of that.
This right here is what I would say. I would say these are your steps that you should go through to get sponsors. First, and one of them is very cliche. The first one's very cliche. Just make good content. If you just make content and put it out there, and it eventually gets eyes on it, and if you follow Gary Vee, he says if you put out 3 to 4 TikToks a day, you're going to make it. So if say you put out 3 to 4 TikToks a day, and the second one is to go to the trade shows, go to the Bassmaster Classic. That way, when people are seeing your content, because Ketchco is on the lookout for the next big thing, right? Guggen's on the lookout for the next big thing. When they see your content and then they see a face, you know, in person, then that just segues right into it, right? So I would say those are 2 of the biggest steps. And also keep your name pretty clean. Like, you don't want to be on there. There's a certain individual, and I will not name his name as bad as I want to name it, but he trashes other brands sometimes. And and I know a couple people that is hurt in the long run. So do not trash other brands, even if they're trash. So those are the 3 things that I would say. Do you agree with those?
I agree. I have a 4th. A lot of people want these sponsors, and they don't actively use their product.
Yeah.
So don't be expecting to get sponsored by Ketchco and MTB when you don't even use MTB currently. You can get that sponsorship if you're like 100,000 subscribers, but if you're 2,000 subscribers and below, you need to be using that product, already promoting it. The company's going to see that you promote it, and they're going to contact you.
Yep.
So whatever it is, whatever company, Lose, Strike King, Guggen, Catch Code, Mystery Tackle Box, you need to already be kind of promoting their product for them to kind of recognize you.
100%. 100% agree with that. I think if you follow those 4 things, then you will, you're going to make it. You make good content. Like I said, huge Gary Vee guy. Highly recommend him. He says you post 3 to 4 TikToks a day, you're going to make it. So I'm trying to do that myself.
All right.
You're getting looks. Is it time to go to bed?
My wife just walked in the room. I think she's got to do schoolwork.
Yeah. I got you. My wife's walked through a few times. Yeah, we're actually wrapping up right now. So, but this is the first episode of the podcast, the Unnamed Podcast. Got a few names in mind that we'll probably figure out at some point. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you go tell your friends. Share us on other socials. I will probably be cutting clips out of this to post on TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff. And is this a new YouTube channel? Are we on a new YouTube channel right now?
I say we start a new YouTube channel. I mean, it's up to you.
Okay.
Whatever we figure out the podcast name, we probably just put them on there.
Just put it right on there. Okay. So, appreciate you guys for watching. If any potential sponsors are watching, we would love to have a sponsor of this podcast.
Yeah.
So, so keep that in mind. We'll see you guys on the next one. Stay tuned. Appreciate y'all for watching, listening.
See you guys.